So, after talking about PWG for this channel's Why It's Awesome series, I very quickly realised that I am out of patience waiting for the Battle of Los Angeles DVDs to start shipping. In an attempt to keep myself sane until the DVDs do start to ship and I can get my PWG fix, I decided to go back to their last show, Threemendous IV, and review it. I will be talking about all the matches in varying levels of detail, so spoiler warning here. We kick things off with a tag team match. Team Threemendous, Dan looking a little trimmer Barry, and Bill surprisingly agile Carr versus the world's cutest tag team, Candice I am perpetually over here Lorray, and Joey on the good ship Lollipop Ryan. I love the crowd's dueling reactions to Candice and Joey. I also love how you can just make out Candice at the start of the match saying, "Guys, I need him," to a crowd that just finished a "Joe, we sucks" chant. Okay, so I am kind of tired of the lollipop shtick that Joey does. There's only so many times you can be, quotation marks here guys, grossed out by a fan indirectly kissing Joey. So imagine my surprise when this opening segment put a huge smile on my face. Firstly, well done to the fans. Joey Ryan offers his lollipop to the crowd and they immediately start chanting Meltzer, who is in attendance. Now, I didn't think that he would do it, but just for a second I really hoped the peer pressure might get to him. It would have been amazing to see. What actually happens is that a random fan gets the lolly, it immediately drops to the floor, Bill Carr cordons off the crime scene, passes the lolly to Dan Barry, who produces an evidence bag, tags the lollipop and wanders to the back. Joey, seeing his opportunity, hits a tope suicida and this match has started. It's a wonderful opening bit that really endeared me to Team Threemendous. Live that gimmick, guys. Overall, there wasn't a huge amount to this match. It broke down after Joey's tope suicida and never really got fixed. But don't let that language fool you, that's a good thing in this instant. Got the crowd hyped the hell up for the rest of the show. The match went from spot to spot with little to no slowing down, no telling a story here, just both teams getting through their signature moves while slowly building up to the finish that saw Bill Carr hit a goddamn Canadian destroyer. Makes sense that I called him surprisingly agile earlier now, doesn't it? And then they picked Joey off to finish him off with a sliced bread doomsday device. Overall, it's a hell of an enjoyable way to start the show. Match 2, Brian I'm a fucking machine Cage and Johnny check me out now on NXT Gargano. Starting this one off hot as well. Within 30 seconds of the bell ringing, Johnny has delivered a sprinting dropkick, hurt donut and tope suicida to Cage. Sometimes I do love PWG. Cage cuts Johnny's momentum off a couple of minutes later by reversing a springboard DDT into a Falcon Arrow, and from then on the match is exactly how you'd think it would be. Johnny getting in his usual smooth combination offense and Cage reacting with overwhelming strength. Finish of the match is a bit of a letdown, unfortunately. It looks like Cage was supposed to reverse Johnny's attempt at a top rope Hurricane Rana into a top rope powerbomb, but he slipped off the top rope. Cage still manages to muscle Johnny up for a normal powerbomb before hitting Weapon X for the win, but the moment all around wasn't as impactful as it should have been. And overall that's kind of the story of the match. While it's a solid match, there wasn't really anything substantial to it, nothing particularly stood out. When I said that this was exactly the match you think these two would have had, I mean that kind of negatively as well. It was almost predictable in how the match was paced. These two are really good wrestlers, so it's still easy enough to sit through. It's just a match I'll probably forget when I think about this show. Match 3, Andrew, come on man, work on those chops, Everett versus Rich All Night Long Swan. The opening couple of minutes of the match set up what I thought was going to be the scene for the rest of the match, that these two are very athletic wrestlers who both have very similar styles, which in this case means that we are going to see a lot of flippy shit. Except that's not really what happened. I mean, there was flippy shit, don't get me wrong, and it was enjoyable for the most part, but these guys worked a more slower, methodical match than I was expecting. A lot of strikes with the occasional high-risk move interspersed between them. Which reminds me, so apparently Everett cannot chop to save his life, and as Excalibur very rightly points out on commentary, Everett is from North Carolina, and that is completely unacceptable. Good thing Swan is there to teach him the error of his ways. Woo! Finish seems Everett reversed Swan's standing 450 splash by getting his knees up at this last second. This is followed by a spike Hurricane Rana and what I can only describe as a delayed shooting star press. Everett gets the free count. These two seemed a little awkward with one another in the beginning. This appears to be the first time that these two have wrestled one another, and that doesn't really surprise me. There just seem to be moments of hesitation with one another, indicative of two wrestlers not fully knowledgeable of the other's style. It wasn't enough that it detracted from the match too much, but it was enough that it was noticeable. It was a different match than I was expecting from these two, but it was still a fun match nonetheless that relied more on their charisma than their athleticism. Welcome surprised, honestly. I would like to see these guys iron out some kinks and then go at it again in a faster paced match that plays more to their strengths. So, on to match 4. Tommaso, damn, I already used an NXT joke for Johnny earlier, Ciampa, versus Trevor. He tweeted my Why It's Awesome video, Lee. Starting off hot again, I'm seeing a theme emerge here in PWG. Jumping Mushroom Stomp, Tope Suicida, and Tope Con Hello. Ciampa pushes Trevor off the top rope and lays in some elbows. And there's this match scene set. Going to be a much heavier hitting match than we've seen thus far. Strikes are plenty. Ciampa takes a fan's Los Angeles cap and stomps it. Tommaso Ciampa will be playing the role of heel in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's production of Threemendous IV. Some very harsh looking strikes all around here, both giving as good as they get. The pace here is very slow and deliberate, letting each strike have a meaningful impact. Well, as much impact as wrestling can allow anyway. It's amazing what damage people can shake off when they get their second wind. A brutal air raid crash onto the ring's apron, which from how the camera was positioned and how Trevor's neck landed, legitimately looked like he had been paralysed. Trevor managed to continue at the same pace as before, so it must not have been as bad as it looked. Hopefully anyway. They continue to strike the shit out of each other until a sequence ends with Trevor delivering the small package driver for the win. Very good match overall, another nice change of pace from the other matches on the card. As an aside, I am continuously impressed by how versatile a wrestler Trevor Lee is. Yes, he obviously has his own pace and style that he's best working at, but he never seems out of place or out of his element no matter what sort of match he's working. He's athletic enough to hang with the high flyers, but can really lay in those strikes when he has to. Match 5. Mike Put Some Fucking Shoes On Bailey versus Chris Elbow Hero. I'm expecting this one to make the previous match look gentle by comparison. Very slow start this time, with Bailey and Hero feeling each other out with some chain wrestling. Each wrestling getting a takedown or two and trading holds. Looks like these two are in for the long haul. Story of the match is that Bailey's got the speed advantage and can match Hero in strikes, but only with his kicks, and Hero has the veteran's height, weight, overall striking and grappling advantage. I think it might be an underdog story, which actually seems to be Hero's specialty nowadays, playing the big bad grizzly wrestling veteran who has been at this longer than you and will elbow the shit out of you because of it. They do a really good job selling this story, helped immensely by the commentary of Excalibur and Joey Ryan. They're actually analysing what is happening in the ring and furthering the story being told with extra facets of relevant information. In one instance, by explaining that Bailey is getting under Hero's skin and that is causing Hero to act a lot more cocky than he would otherwise, which ultimately leads to his undoing. Also, Excalibur makes a Dark Souls reference, further cementing his legacy as the best wrestling commentator in the business right now. The finish sees Hero rolling elbow Bailey once, twice, 3 times a dead man. Bailey is out on his feet, but Hero goes for the completely unnecessary piledriver finish, which Bailey manages to reverse in a pinning predicament for the 3 count. These two told a fantastic story and wrestled a match that easily surpassed that. As I said earlier, Hero is incredible in these style of matches. See Trevor Lee versus Chris Hero at Black Hole Sun for further proof of that. So it's no wonder he's great here, but it takes a lot for the underdog to make this one work. There's a fine line to walk between looking strong enough so you don't look out of place in the ring, but not so strong that you're unbelievable as the underdog. See Sami Zayn as the epitome of this. Mike Bailey fits that same mould very well, and this match cemented that opinion for me. Fantastic match from start to finish, well done guys. The show was worth the price of admission for this one alone, and we've still got 2 more to go. Match 6. The man that gravity is afraid of, Ricochet, versus Akira fucking yes, welcome back, Tozawa. Excalibur gives us a brief PWG history lesson that Tozawa was sent to the USA by Dragon Gate around 2010-2011 for seasoning. Tozawa was based in Southern California and became a regular at PWG for those years. He quickly won over the PWG crowd with some outstanding matches, primal shrieking and learning exactly 4 words of English. Shut the fuck up. I managed to avoid learning anything about this show, so this was truly an unexpected holy shit mark-out moment for me. So great to see him back in a PWG ring. The entire match is just so easy to watch. It's clear Ricochet and Tozawa are having a great time in front of a raucous crowd who are loving every moment of the match. Ricochet and Tozawa go back years and years and have such amazing chemistry because of it. Every spot and transition is smooth, nothing takes you out of the experience, and it is such a joy to watch. Finish sees Tozawa kick out of a springboard 450 splash, so Ricochet delivers a Benadrylla and a spinning Michinoku driver 2B for the win. Taking away the welcome back element, this is a very good match. It's 2 incredibly talented wrestlers with amazing chemistry having a great time in front of a crowd loving every second of it. From match title card to pinfall was 18 minutes 16 seconds, and that time flew by. I really hope Tozawa is back in a PWG ring again soon. Super Dragon comes out after the match and Psycho Drivers Ricochet. Joey Ryan, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae come out to confront Super Dragon, and the Young Bucks come out to super kick Gargano and Ryan as Super Dragon lays into Candice. Big brawl as most of the wrestlers on the card run out to get super kicked or psycho drivered, or both, until Angelico and Jack Evans run out and our main event has started. Match 7 and your main event. There is no situation that cannot be helped with copious amounts of super kicks. The Young Bucks versus Falling with Style, Angelico and Jack the human crash test dummy Evans. Since this is the first time PWG has seen Angelico and Evans tag, we start off with those 2 working over the Young Bucks and getting an idea of their style of tag team offense until, well, what else? A super kick changes all of that and the Bucks take control. The 2 go back and forth in a usual PWG main event tag team style match, both getting in an equal chance to show off and, to steal a phrase, get their shit in until it all breaks down and resets. In fact, we get 2 reset spots in this match, which seems a little excessive. The finish sees the Bucks deliver a Meltzer driver onto Jack to the outside as a holy shit chant erupts. The Bucks drags Jack's carcass back into the ring and get the free after a completely unnecessary more bang for your buck. Jack continues to sell the moves like death after the match and shouts to the crowd about them being back for Battle of Los Angeles, as the show ends with the crowd roaring in appreciation from that announcement. Match was the usual affair you've come to expect from the Young Bucks in PWG, which is to say that it was absolutely stellar tag team wrestling, and Angelico and Jack helped breathe fresh life into some of the more routine spots the Young Bucks go to, and, as I had never seen them tag before this, their offense was very unique to me. Also, Jack Evans really knows how to sell moves, so it was quite enjoyable to see him getting worked over by the Bucks. Another great match, and one that leaves you with a nice content feeling that a main event really should have. Overall, this was a pretty great PWG show with no matches that I would call duds. It started off hard and fast in a very enjoyable opening context that really helps get me hyped up for the show. Unfortunately, it couldn't keep up that momentum and dipped a little for a couple of slower matches, which, while had some interesting elements, didn't live up to the matches I know those wrestlers are capable of having. The show truly picked back up with Trevor vs Ciampa and didn't relent until it faded to black. The ending half of the show boasts 4 back-to-back matches that are all incredibly enjoyable watches with a fantastic amount of variety in differing wrestling styles and abilities. I'd have to give match of the show to either Mike Bailey and Chris Hero, which from a wrestling and storytelling standpoint was the best. However, for just pure enjoyment, I'd have to give it to Ricochet and Tozawa, although as stated before, I have a very personal bias in seeing Tozawa back in a PWG ring. So that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed watching. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button if you did, and what did you guys think about the show? Let me know in the comments. PWG's Threemendous IV is available on DVD from ProWrestlingGuerrilla.com or on demand from HighSpots.com if you're interested in picking it up. And as always, I'll see you next time.